I was talking to my grandpa today about tree grafting. He showed me some trees in his yard that were originally one tree, and the tree was old and the middle of it was getting rotten. And so he cut it down at the bottom of it and took out all the rotten parts and filled it up with concrete, cement, and then he allowed it to grow for a little bit until he had a little bit of branches coming out, some sprouts. And then what he did, he took a very sharp knife and you kind of peel the exterior of those sprouts, and you take a branch, a young branch from another tree, the tree that you want to grow here. And what you do is that you shape it like an arrow and you push it down into the very skin of the old tree, into the trunk, and you wrap it around real good, real strong, make sure there's no air so it doesn't dry out, and you cover it with a bag and you let it sit there for a while. And what happens is that the two trees, the branch that you got from the other tree and this tree, they kind of fuse together and turn into some sort of a Frankensteinian tree. And he did that stuff multiple times in his yard. He has a kumquat tree, which is, I think, Chinese orange, but that same tree also has a branch that goes to the side that has clementines. And this was done 30, 40 years ago, so you basically have two trees in one. You got the kumquat on the right and the clementine on the left, yet they both come out of the same trunk. Another tree used to be oranges, and now it's mandarins. And he did the same with hushchash. It's a bitter orange, I think it's called. And he told me because the hushchash, it's a wild tree. It's very strong, very rigid. The fruit itself is inedible, but it's very strong and resistant. So what they do, they use it. They let it grow, and then they kind of cut off the top and graft in something better, the kind of fruit that you want to grow, because the fruit will benefit. You don't have to wait for all the roots to grow, but you have very strong roots and trunk, and the fruit will come out from the branches that you grafted in. And I thought to myself, isn't that interesting? When it comes to trees, I'm thinking to myself, this is some crazy Frankensteinian experiment. I don't think that's kosher, considering what the Lord commanded in the Torah. You shall not plant two kinds of seeds in a field. You shall not breed two kinds of animals together. But for some reason, that seems to be a very common practice in Israel today. He showed me some videos on YouTube how it's done. Many gardeners are teaching how to do tree grafting, particularly with citrus fruits. But I think the principle works in almost anything. I don't know. I haven't done it and I have no intention to. I just thought it was very interesting considering what we know about the Gentiles being grafted in. And if you haven't come from the background in agriculture, I'm sure you've never fully understood what it meant until now that I've explained it. The olive tree. Some branches were cut off and others were grafted in. See, and here's the thing about grafting in. If you want to make it holy and not some Frankensteinian beast, you have to use the same species, the same kind that you are grafting in. The branches that you put in have to be of the same kind as the trunk to which they are being put in. Or else you're going to end up with, like I said, some Frankensteinian beast that is unholy. The Lord is not into mixing and interchanging and breeding and hyper and genetic alteration, GMOs. No. He's against all of that, and he said that all over the Torah. The whole scenario with the Nephilim, the daughters of men with the fallen angels giving birth, and the hybridization of man with beast. The Lord despises all of that. It's abominable in his sight. But he said every tree produces see it according to its kind. See, when a man mixes with a woman under marriage, it's holy. It's acceptable. If a dog mates with a female dog, it's holy, it's acceptable. But do not pervert it. See, we have this beast called mule. What is it? It's a horse with a donkey. It's abominable. That is a violation of the Torah. It should not exist. Namely because that thing cannot procreate. It has a odd number of genomes and chromosomes. It does not produce life. The Lord is the God of life. But if something is of the same kind, then it works. It's holy. It's appropriate. So see, the whole message that Paul was teaching about being grafted in, he said, you, even though you are wild olive trees, you are grafted into this olive tree, which is of the Lord, his people. Yeah, but what he was hinting at is that, well, you ought to adjust yourself to be of the same kind as the tree trunk. To be grafted in doesn't mean that you stay of a different kind, or else you too will be cut off. He said, just because you've been grafted in, don't think that you're not going to be cut off, just as some of the original branches were. If you want to be grafted in and stay in, you have to be of the same kind and produce the same fruit of the trunk, have the same genetic information, so that you properly represent the tree. Can you imagine if you plant an olive tree and all of a sudden you got branches producing, prunes? That's not kosher. It's not holy. You look at it and it's like, what is it? Right? Is it an olive tree? Is it a prune tree? The Lord doesn't do this kind of stuff. Now, see the vision that Peter got in Acts chapter 10 about the nations being represented by unclean animals, and the Lord said, kill and eat. Peter said, no, Lord, I've never put anything unclean in my mouth. And the Lord said, don't call unclean what I have called clean. It is representing of the Gentiles who are becoming, who they have been made clean by the Spirit of holiness, because they too now can repent. They can turn to the Lord, receive salvation, and be grafted in so they too can walk in righteousness and holiness. It doesn't mean that they can get grafted in and not walk in holiness and righteousness, which is what most Christians do. They think they are grafted in because they call themselves whatever they do, but they don't actually walk in holiness and righteousness. That is not the kind of branch that the Lord desires. If I have an orange tree and it's a little diseased and I want to graft in another orange tree of the same kind, that's fine. This is oranges and this is oranges. I can graft in a branch and it will fuse together and I will have more fruit coming out. That's holy. It's still an orange tree. It's not a, Frankensteinian experiment. So remember, the Lord made the heavens and the earth. The Lord is a farmer. He's into agriculture. Adam was a man of the field. He was tending to the soil, caring for the animals. We are to be like trees. In fact, the righteous are called like a tree planted by the water. So take it to heart. To be grafted in, you have to be of the same kind as the trunk, or else you would be an abomination, be cut off and thrown in the fire.